Hello everyone and welcome to the Fortnightly. My name is Tito and today we'll try something a little different. The title of this episode is Ladies, Don't Be So Hard on Yourselves. Now, as a wedding and event photographer, I tend to take more pictures of women than I do of men, and it's safe to say that generally around the world, women tend to be slightly more self-conscious than men, and over the years I've come across a certain category of women that I photograph, and these are women who, after you take their picture, they ask to see the image, and when they do, they say things like, I hate that picture, or I look hideous, or I look fat. Now, we all have insecurities and flaws, but the way we communicate them is very important, because when you express yourself that way, two things happen. First of all, you're giving the photographer, the person that took the picture, who in most cases is a professional photographer, you're giving him the impression that he or she is not able to take a decent picture. When we all know that that's really not the case. The problem or the issue really is the perception of the person who was photographed, the person who doesn't like the picture. And speaking of perception, that's the second thing. When you say things like, oh, I look like I just rolled out of bed, or I look huge, no offense, but when you say things like that, ladies, it sounds like you have a low self-image, or a poor self-image, or low self-esteem. And no one wants to come off, with that kind of, that kind of image or that kind of vibe. So you really need to be careful about the things you say. When you take a picture and you look at it and you don't like it, rather than saying things like, I look fat, or look at the size of my head, you can make a joke out of it. Just treat it with a little bit of humor. Say something like, oh, wow, maybe I need to lay off the desserts or lay off the ice cream. Do you mind if we take another picture? When you express yourself that way, first of all, it doesn't show that you are insecure. And secondly, it lets the photographer know that he's aware, or that you are aware, that it's not necessarily his fault that it's a bad image, that perhaps you just didn't pose right, or the lighting wasn't right, and both of you are willing to give it another shot. So always be careful about how you express yourself when you see an image of yourself that you do not like. A bad picture is not worth you condemning yourself or running yourself down. Learn what you can about how you can take better, more flattering pictures. So, to piggyback off that, here are 3 quick tips on how you can take better impromptu pictures. Number 1, have a set of memorized poses. Have a set of 2 or 3 memorized poses that you'll do every time a camera is pointed at you. This is what helps celebrities be red carpet ready whenever they go out for events and they're having their picture taken. In private, they've taken pictures and they've rehearsed in front of the mirror, perhaps with their team, on the looks and the poses that work best for them. So don't be ashamed to stand in front of the mirror and to strike different poses to see which ones work for you. Take it a step further and take loads of selfies and see where, the light hits you, how it hits you, and how you look from different angles and with different facial expressions. Identify the poses that work for you and use them all the time. Number 2, know your good side. Now, knowing what your good side isn't specifically knowing whether you look better from the left or the right. It's more about knowing what your flaws are and how you can either downplay or conceal them, and knowing what your more prominent, more attractive features are and how you can accentuate or highlight them better. For example, if you feel you have big arms, learn how you can tuck them away or conceal them in a picture. If you feel you have spots or a prominent pimple, know what side of your face that pimple is on so that you can tilt it away from the camera so it doesn't show as much. If you feel you're on the big side, never take a picture, directly facing the camera or head on. Tilt away from the camera a little bit so as to appear slimmer. Know what your flaws are and know what your more prominent, more attractive features are as well. Number 3, laugh and learn. Now, you won't always like every single picture that's taken of you, especially in this age of social media. So learn to just laugh it off and examine the pictures to learn what it is you don't like about the picture. It's not enough to say, I don't like that picture. What don't you like about the picture? Were you backing the light rather than facing it? Do you often blink or look sleepy in your images? What is it exactly? Identify what it is you were doing wrong so that you can learn from it and so you can do better in future. For example, I have a friend who seems to blink in every single picture that's taken of her. If you take 3 pictures of this girl, in 2 of them, she's going to have her eyes closed. She's going to be blinking. So the tip I gave her was that whenever she's about to take a picture, especially at a fancy event, she should tell the photographer to just give her a second, and she should look down as if she's looking at her outfit or her shoes. And in that time, she should blink as many times as she needs to just to get the blinking out of her system. And she should bear it in mind or tell herself that when she raises her head to take this picture, she's going to keep her eyes open for at least 5 seconds so that the photographer gets a good picture of her. Now, this may not necessarily be the easiest thing to do, especially seeing as blinking is an involuntary action, but with a little bit of practice, even in private, in front of the mirror, it can easily be mastered, I guarantee you. Well, that's it for this episode of the Fortnightly, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Now, if you have any opinions of your own or any tips for the ladies on how they can take better pictures or how they can be more confident about the pictures they take, please feel free to leave your opinions in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. Alternatively, you can reach out to me on social media. On Twitter and Instagram, you can find me at abumere.com. On Facebook, just search for Eniola Abumere Photography, and my website is www.abumere.com. Do remember as well to subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. The subscribe button is staring you in the face just below this video. Thanks for watching once again, guys. I will see you in the next one. Cheers.